What's up, guys? Coach Gaglione here. This is another Garage Gym Reviews with Coach Gags. Going over my back and buys kind of routine. And this is at peak fitness. So right now I'm kind of training for a strict curl competition. So I'm using a little bit more, more stable and kind of just heavier, maybe a little bit more body English than I normally would in like something like a pull down. A lot of times, if I'm training for a powerlifting meet, I'll do more independent handles or neutral grip option, but the chin grip pull downs with a little bit of body English, I think, is a really good exercise for strict curl athletes. I know it's something that, Bruce Knox recommends quite a bit. Just doing a lot of work where you're supinated or your palms kind of facing you. So going a little bit heavier, but also to make sure that I kind of do some, overhand pull downs as well, just to kind of balance things out and kind of work the lats in a slightly different plane, as well as just kind of work on, just getting my overhead mobility a little bit better. You can see I'm really trying to, even though I'm using some body English here, I'm trying to get a good stretch. And, I was trying to at least, whether it be getting under my chin or to actually tapping my chest, trying to standardize the range of motion in some capacity. And I'll usually kind of strap in for the overhand work. And sometimes with the chin grip pull downs, I'll just, just do those without straps, just again, to be a little bit more specific to my curl training. And just working on scapular depression, working those lower traps, getting the scapula to move. This is going to be good for your shoulder health. And again, as a strict curl athlete, I think it's important to just get those shoulder blades to move. So it's going to help with your competition technique as well. So again, a lot of times in powerlifting, we're kind of always pinning our scapula and not moving it, so that can kind of lead to some issues. Here's a good preacher curl machine. Again, I also do just regular kind of preacher curls, but again, whether it be a warm-up or as an actual exercise. Sometimes you'll see here I'm kind of either holding it in my fingers or not quite gripping it all the way. Just again, a lot of times these machines don't fit me quite as much. Some people will kind of bypass that a little bit by just going one arm at a time, but generally, right now, I'm trying to save time, be more efficient, so I'm doing a lot of more bilateral work. But it is, if you do have the time, I do think there is a lot of value in just doing some unilateral work, just to really focus on one side at a time and potentially work on imbalances. Did some regular curls and then some hammer curls just to kind of work my forearms a little bit. Doing these low cable rows, again, right now, I'm not really prioritizing squats and deadlifts quite as much going into my next competitions. I'm doing a little bit more freestanding rows, flexion rows. I'm using some cable rows, some T-bar rows where I'm going to be getting a little bit more of the lower back involved, as well as this, the mid back. So this is kind of a good option if you want to kind of just work your entire back. But I'm just kind of really trying to stretch my back out, kind of round over, and then kind of extend. And just kind of contract the entire back as much as possible, get as much musculature active as I can. So that's kind of and I'm using, again, kind of a semi-supinated or slightly underhand grip. One of my favorites, if you have access to it, is some sort of hammer strength kind of row, whether it be, one arm at a time or two arms at a time. You really kind of stretch over that pad. So in this particular day, I'm doing kind of more of a higher elbow position. So it's going to be more kind of upper back, kind of mid traps, a little bit different. So generally, if you're going to be more of a vertical pull, more elbow in towards your, driving your elbow towards your hip, it's going to be a little bit more lat focused. And again, here I'm really kind of emphasizing the shoulder blades moving. So it's going to be a little bit more kind of trap and mid back focus on these rows, but I'm really trying to get a good stretch here. But yeah, I think, and you could do these one arm at a time. You could do these two arms at a time. And there's different kind of variations. I'm not sure if I show the step back on this day or not. And just doing some different cable curls. Again, just kind of working the biceps from different angles here. You could do these lying, you could do these seated. But again, just trying to get some blood in the area on this day. Again, just trying to keep my arms and forearms healthy. And to just really try to work on just general kind of strength and size for the back and biceps on this particular day. But this is going to be more of a fully shortened kind of curl by kind of driving up toward my shoulders here. But that's just typically a lot of rows, a lot of curls, a lot of pull downs. And here's one of my favorites, this Bernoulli lat pull in. So in terms of doing some single arm work, I really like these. I really like step back rows. And you can do like dumbbell one-arm rows. I'm not kind of doing those this cycle as well, but this is a really good kind of version. If you have a hard time kind of connecting to your lat, you can kind of really kind of drive in towards your hip, and you can see it getting a really kind of good stretch here. Doing these a little bit more dynamic, but again, you can kind of see, you know, how it really kind of lines up diagonally with those lat fibers. So I think it's a really kind of often overlooked movement. So you can definitely check out some of, you know, Doug Bernoulli's stuff. He has since passed away, but this is a technique I learned from Phil Viz. So sometimes actually using the strap as more of a handle if you want to kind of lengthen something or just kind of be a little bit more controlled with your rows. But this is a good way you can do your step back rows potentially, and it's going to basically place a little bit more stress on that stretch position. It's a really good way to stretch your lats, open up the back, something I enjoy quite a bit. So that's just kind of like what I like to do in this type of garage gym setting with these types of pieces of equipment. But really like kind of doing a good, you know, with back especially, I do like to do some single arm work because it's sometimes hard to get like the right angles, especially as you get wider and wider. But that's basically it. There's a lot of pull downs, a lot of rows, a lot of curls, and then, you know, from different angles to kind of sometimes work the lats, sometimes work the traps and mid back, and as well as obviously, you know, just getting some extra bicep work on this day for my strict curl training. So that's it for this week. Until next time, guys, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.